You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today at Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions. I don't know. The people are saying no audio. Is that a problem, JP?
It's coming.
Hello?
It's coming.
Oh, okay.
Hang on. No, it's not. All right. Now it is. There it is. All right.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. We've just connected.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for joining us today at the Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmission. So hopefully you can hear us now. All right.
As usual, everything's all up in the air. But I've my website's got hacked last week, so I've been really heads down. Just basically, I've had to recreate all my websites. Whatever be on radio and.
We were going to say that site looks a little different today for some reason, so.
Yes, and also Vanessa is working on the main Wolf Spirit page. So hard hat area, I think. Really, it's a bit of a building site. You might trip over stuff, so be careful.
Yeah. Well, I think it looks pretty good. So, and it's hard. Something like that happens. Whoever did the hacking, shame on you. For, interfering with, energy that's trying to do the right thing here. So it should be supporting the station, not hurting the station. Just to put that out there. And also supporting in any way that you can, helping out and those that want to support it by, donating and do whatever they can. So, let's be mindful of that. And whatever people, they do silly things sometimes. Think it through before you do something like that. So anyhow, we got an interesting show today. We're going to have, on the second hour, we're going to have our guest, Bylar, from the Eons. You also know him as Tom, and he's been on the show a few times. We're just going to give you an update about the Eons now, today, and, that should be, helpful to all of you, just kind of bringing in, the information. So, anyhow, so how are you today, JP? JP?
Yeah, I'm still making coffee.
Are you making coffee? Oh, all right. I didn't know that this is let me just, I know that everyone was talking about the builder's tea, and we had that whole discussion. By the way, I had someone contact me and start talking about tea. I got an email about tea, so we might, I don't know, we might just have fun and have a day that we did discuss tea at the second hour. Why not, right? And then I want everyone to get a cup of tea, some kind of tea that you like. This will be the anti-tea party. We're going to make a truce right now, coming from Boston, going back to the UK. We're going to have the anti-tea party because after the British left, we continued to tax ourselves. So, no sense in having any ill feelings after that. And that's what the whole tea party was about, was taxation.
All about tax. It's always about tax, never about tea.
That's always about I know. And of course they took the tea and they threw it off the boat and they said, forget about it. You don't wanna, we're gonna prove to you that we're not gonna pay that tax. Well, guess what? Massachusetts, they call Taxachusetts because it has the highest taxes in the whole U.S. I think, from what I've learned. So, anyhow, we have a few different messages too today that, it's kind of like everyone showed up and just made their comments and said whatever they had to say. And then they left. It was kind of short and sweet for most of them, but we have quite a few messages here. And, I think maybe we can get started with, the first one, which is, why don't we start with Whyman? We haven't heard from Whyman in a while, and I know some people really love him.
Okay. I might have to just do a funny voice. I don't think my voice changer is working at the moment for some reason. Something that will involve getting underneath and behind the desk to make it work. So maybe that's not going to happen today. Is there another way I can do this? Yes, it'll take a... What's that? I know. Hang on. Okay. I know I'm prevaricating here, but what I've got to do is plug this into here. Undo that.
Get everything assorted.
Get my voice.
Get your act together.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's very...
And your props and everything else. You're going to appreciate Meetis' message today.
Okay, what have I got here?
Very, very spontaneous.
All right, so I'm going to get my headphones on.
Okay.
Turn the speakers down. There we go. And hello. There we are. All right, yes.
Oh, nice. It works.
We have a voice. Let's mute that one. And then we go.
There, that's more like Whyman. Oh, it's a little one. Anyway. So. Hello, wonderful beings of light. You are as I remember you, and I hold you up with all support and love.
Hello, Whyman. I missed hearing from you. You are so beautiful and divine. Tell me, are you safe and thriving still?
As far and wide as a tree can grow, and as tall as a tree can see, I am doing well, but the lands still suffer and the many inhabitants below. I am restored at the core, but my many branches need repair. The people are my branches. I want you all to be well as much as possible. Please stop the wars in the Eka. It continues on just as I imagine it will stop. It begins again. Don't stop your efforts to bring peace.
I will share this message with everyone. Much love, Whyman.
And to you, to all of you as well.
Stage directions, it says snoring. There you go.
It does. And he actually did that. He I don't know, like an old man. It was really cute. He just fell asleep.
Rolled over. Oh, bless. So there was Whyman.
Whyman, that was a nice message. And it was nice to hear that he's okay, but he's saying that the wars are still happening in the Eka. And messages are really, people say, well, these are, you're going through your play or whatever you're doing. But actually there's truth in that they're coming through and they're informing me. So there's still some problems. He's concerned. It feels like the civilizations and other things regarding where the tree is connected to, as opposed to the tree being as injured as it was before. So I didn't feel that. I felt like he was, very healed and doing really well, but not happy to see that we're not quite where we should be yet. And I think it starts with peace up in the Eka first. So, that was a good message. And he did actually, like I said, he did snore in the end, which was kind of funny. But I like to keep it very authentic in whatever I'm experiencing and let people experience that part as well. So, anyhow, the next is Rhodan.
Okay, here we go. It's like lots of documents today. But he's Apollo.
No, there's Rhodan in there too.
There's a Rhodan as well. Oh,
yeah, go to the bottom.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we have actually Apollo 1. This is the first time we've had Apollo. Right, yeah. Now, we've talked about Apollyon, and that is Dionysus or Abaddon. But the real Apollo is Rhodan. So there's two aspects of Rhodan today, as like Andronicus had Andrew and John also, so, but they haven't come up today.
You have climbed another fortress, I see. The depths exist no longer under the sea. The darkest edges of time are no longer visible to me. No worries about their banter and subtle, annoying words. They are diminishing by the droves. I gave you permission to take away the darkness from this earth, and you are, but without much pain and sorrow in the process. The dark ones are bitter indeed, and many have a sting that is painful and takes some time to heal. Trust me, there happens to be some truth in the process of blood, sweat and tears. If one would examine the levels of Dante's Inferno, they would see that 4 levels no longer exist. It was critical to those who created those depths of darkness were the ones to suffer, not those who were snared and manipulated into it. Now then, we can rest, but not for long until the other levels are diminished as well, then on to another task at hand. We are watching and caring for you all this time. Don't give up on hope. Be strong, my friends. Okay. So, what was that one? Yeah, the blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah.
All the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sweat and tears all come from blood. That's why they're all salty. You know.
Mm-hmm.
All, I have to say, all bodily fluids, that's the source of bodily fluids is the blood, and that's why they're all salty. It's because it's the blood plasma.
I didn't know that.
Just a thing.
Yeah. It's information. That's,
oh.
Yeah, and so he had me looking at Dante's Inferno a while back, and I actually saw a reflection of it off-world, and we talked about that before. It seemed to be, inside a planet, and unnamed or hidden. And so that they had to, those realities, were still in our conscious awareness. It still existed, not necessarily present here in this reality, but kind of in this other, I won't say alternate, in a way it's an alternate reality, but not. I mean, it was a part of our reality inserted somehow or developed and opened up. And then, from some of these alternate beings that kind of got into our space and kind of, moved and incorporated more, expanded and built more of this darkness within our reality, which was supposed to have been in the alternate reality. And so I think that that's why they're allowing it to be dissolved or removed, because it didn't need to be here. And that, some of the souls will be being pulled into that. I mean, people talk about humans being, when they die, being taken to the wrong place or, kind of escorted in, abducted or taken off world. And this is like one of the other incidences, this, strange reality. I call it a labyrinth, but it doesn't need to exist. And Dante kind of describes it because he knew it and had an awareness.
Hey, Jess, you just got broken up badly. I don't know why.
Oh. You can't hear me very well?
Yeah, you're right now, but just suddenly you got broken off. So I lost the last paragraph. Dante's Inferno, I think.
Oh. Yes, so Dante's Inferno is something that seems to be very, it's very present, and I had seen it, Dante had seen it, and others have seen it, but it's a thing that, nightmares are made of. And these are the realities that were inserted into our reality, didn't need to exist here, and were brought in by these alternate beings. And, quite possibly it came in through this whole gate jumping effect through the Maximus Rufus that we talked about last week. But these are the many things that happened that kind of brought in a corruption into our, revolution of time when, humanity had this new revival, a new chance, or, after the flood, just the start over. And some of the old stuff didn't need to be inserted into this reality, and I believe this is one of them. So, I was happy to hear that there were 4 levels of that inferno that no longer exist. But we have some other things that came up.
More things arise.
So, yes.
So, where do we go next?
We should go to, Andronicus.
So this is, I look at the one marked 108A, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the A, it's not going to be an A later, just I did that for editing purposes, so.
Right, so you know which one's the edit and which one's the original, right? Okay.
Yes.
So. I went back to Ohio and I was surprised to see what I saw. It didn't look the same as before because of the Phoebians were all around the city.
Phoebians.
That's P-H-O-E-B-I-A-N-S. The Phoebians were all around the city. Yeah, throwing a curveball there. It didn't look the same as before because the Phoebians were all around the city, hiding in dark places and corrupting everything in sight. To you, they look like the black hell dogs. To us, they are mischief makers on a grander scale. They destroy civilizations and tear down many walls of communications. It's not good at all. I know this had a lot to do with me, but what happened cannot be explained. So much strangeness, and on top of all of this, they began to spread to outer regions and throughout the planet.
Andronicus, can I get verification when this happened exactly?
It was in 1964, and then they were brought back to the 1930s, then jumped to the 1970s, then jumped again to the 1920s, then jumped again to 1864, then jumped again to 1943, then jumped again to London and a bunch of equestrian riders in 1644, then jumped again to France in 402, then jumped to Spain in 1630, and so on. Unmute.
You're kidding me. So essentially, they latched onto you and they followed you while you were jumping timelines.
Yeah, something like that. Some of us are aware of many things, but often forget to release them back to where they belong. They look very much like a pack of dogs, but are not very good companions. In fact, they are a specific species from the alternate reality. Some have taken a liking for them, but mostly those of a brutish nature and dark intent on the planet.
Are they in fact connected to Phoebe?
Yes, she shows the alternate reality as opposed to the lighter contrast. She was embittered by love and became quite vengeful and domineering. She assigned to have these creatures created to support her demands of dark deeds. This was supported by Hades, who made legion with her and shared their beast to obtain power.
So the legendary three-headed dog.
It was a symbol of union between Hades and Phoebe. Although Phoebe never let on that she was in legion with Hades. Let me guess, you removed Hades but forgot to remove Phoebe.
Yeah. That was not good. And that explains a lot. But wait a minute. Why didn't you remove them yourself? You contaminated the whole reality with your time travel journeys.
Oh, I think I have another appointment. I'll talk to you later. Talk about avoiding the issue. Very unsatisfying.
Andy. That's what he completely dodged the whole issue. I could believe it.
Oh, look, there's someone I know.
Well, I guess if you're Andronicus, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, three-headed dogs, Hades, Phoebe?
Yeah, and I've dealt with Phoebe before. And I've had some problems, and I'd say, what in the world's going on? Well, Phoebe doesn't like you. And I'd say, well, who in the world is Phoebe? And I'd have to look into, the Greek and Roman myths to try to remember who she was. And I guess, I I don't even remember right now because I didn't review it, but it came up again. They were calling these, they were kind of like, not really dogs, but they look like black dogs, or like Doberman Pinschers, but they're not quite. They're more like some other kind of species. And, you could see them running all over the place. I mean, they're just, and they're very intimidating. And, I was once told if I saw them probably about, I want to say maybe about a year ago. And I was seeing them in a vision, and someone told me, well, you need to wear copper. And I said, what does copper do? Well, for some reason copper, keeps them away from you. I'm like, that's not strange. That's a really strange thing to be looking at, and why have to deal with them. But I guess that it was almost like someone had opened up a door and a whole bunch of them were everywhere. And I could see them etherically. And so I was thinking, well, all these people that are exposed to these dogs, and I said, well, that's a problem for everyone. They said, no, particularly for you. And I said, what do you mean? So someone sent them to me in particular, so I guess they knew in time that I was going to say something about them. And just to let everyone know, these are not like literal dogs. Of course I love dogs, and I don't have any problem with that. And I even have coyotes around me. They sometimes I hear them howling at night. I have no problem with that either. I love wolves. So these are not necessarily from the canine species, just to make sure everyone knows that. But they are an entity, and dark, and they are very vicious. And anyhow, that's that was the outcome. It was not very pleasant. But why don't we take a break for a moment and play Chrissy Hines from Ohio? Since all this started in Ohio, we'll play that song. Okay.
Now we're back. There we go. Chrissy Hind with the Pretenders. I used to live in Crouch End, which is where they had their studio. Yeah, it was nice. It was like the Pretenders and the Rhythmics all used to live in this area in the 80s when I lived there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like they were. They're just ordinary people, but they just make this fantastic music. Anyway. Meanwhile,
they're very ordinary. They actually came to my was it elementary or junior high? My junior high. And I remember them just sitting there in the cafeteria with us. It was really, kind of weird. And then as I got older, I realized it was like, oh wow, they're really famous. They didn't have to do that, but they were really down to earth and kind of a little bit on the macabre side, It had this kind of dark, like everyone's in black and everything. But it was a nice experience. And she's got a great voice. Very, very strong voice.
Yeah, full of, her voice is very emotional. It's got a lot of emotion. Yeah. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Back at the ranch.
Hang on, let's have a quick back at the ranch.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Well, I'm hoping that you found your Baylord music, because we do have a message from Baylord.
Yes. Hang on, where was Baylord? Oh, there it is. Yes, I have Baylord. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, we can do Baylord now. I'm glad you found it, because you didn't have it last time.
All right. Yeah, it was difficult, but it's this little thing. Your friend Davey has talking of Scots and Pictish.
Yeah.
We live in that Pictish area. Davey lives on, just the other side of it, but there's a sort of a Pictish fort in Burghead. And that's 10 miles from where Davey lives and 7 miles from where I live. And so we're right in this area. So definitely I think there's a connection with our soul group from this area. Who was I talking to last night on my show with Star, who is joining us as a host. We got a few more hosts coming in, Jess. That's really good. But we were talking about how our soul groups have existed in various time spaces And she was saying, yes, that one of my spirit guides is a Viking. And I said, yeah, we were all, there's a whole group of us.
So you're finding, there's others that are starting to come in that kind of were connected to this as well.
Yes. And so we're beginning to find that, what we thought was a soul group of like maybe 10 or 20 is like huge. Mm-hmm. Maybe thousands, maybe, multiple thousands. So, be prepared to have your your expectations busted, because soul groups are much bigger than you think they are. Yeah.
I know that there are, years ago people would tell me about how they'd have these gatherings of people that would go into these kind of environments where everyone would dress like their Viking aspect. They'd these outfits, they'd live in these tents and eat the type of food that the Vikings would eat, and it was just like very, very, interesting and returning back to that culture. And they'd have I don't know if there were festivals or weekend gatherings or whatever it was. And I never actually went. I always wanted to go, but I never went. And just sounds like a lot of fun, where people are all kind of in that mode. And these are all people that remember being in that experience, that whole Viking experience. I don't think enough people talk about the Pictish people, because I think that would be an interesting thing. And maybe I'm wrong, but maybe something over there in the UK, if people gather together and kind of have that experience. I know they do that with the Celtic stuff. Maybe they paint themselves a little blue, or they experience Beltane, or some of these celebrations that they still celebrate, but in the maypole and all that stuff. But I don't know. What about the Pictish people? Do they still do any kind of celebration?
There are almost no traces of the Picts. I mean, there is just like the old earthworks and the forts, but like who the Picts are. Now, a long time ago, I had a friend, and he said, "Oh yes, Picts. They, Rod Stewart, the singer." Mm-hmm. He says that's what Picts look like. They're slim and gaunt and, tall and with pointy features. Now, I don't know if that's how Baylord appears to you, but that's...
He's bald, and I don't...
So he's quite old?
Probably in his late 40s, early 50s.
All right.
Yeah. I think he's one of those, he's sort of immortal looking, so he's not, some of the immortals look very old, and some of them have a slight youthfulness, but wise. Mature, but,
Any features that you can pick up? Like noses or chins or ears?
The cheekbones, maybe, the high cheekbones. And square chin, kind of. I mean, to me, he looks, has a very Caucasian, that part of the world.
Yeah.
Appearance.
Okay.
Strong chiseled face, a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Quite angular.
Angular.
Mm. Okay, so back to Phoebe, because the first thing he's talking about is Phoebians. The Martian moon is called Phobos, and that means fear. I think it's Phobos and Deimos, which means fear and panic. I don't know, but fear was so that's the basis of the word phobia. Phobos. So is Phoebe a variation on that? Is that a fair?
It could be, yeah, because it does. There seems to be a lot of fear, in what we're talking about that they had experienced. It's quite a bit of fear. So, like phobias, yeah.
So, there we go.
Interesting. Hey, that's a good piece of trivia.
A bit of phonetics for you. Phonetics. Phonetics, Phoebe. There's, this PHO appears a lot. You know, it's a very ubiquitous kind of prefix. Ubiquitous prefixes from Answers from the Universe. Anyway, shall we get Heedly Doodly?
Yeah, let's get into Gaylord.
All right, get your drum out. Hello. Oh, it didn't work. Hang on. Nope, I was wrong. Oh well, hang on a second. Oh yes, I didn't. I lost it last week, and
yeah, you did.
I thought I'd had it. Hang on. It's called the Killy Cranky. Let's see if I'll quickly find it. There we are. Under Jingles Stroke FX, showing File Manager. Killy Cranky.
All these things for you to remember.
All these things.
I always bring another element to the show.
All right.
New voices, new characters.
I heard you talking about the Phoebians. So that's where they came from. What type of nasty creatures like that were concocted from the depths of the bogs? I know about them and had a good few run-ins with them. I saw them licking the heels of Leonard Crumb a few times. One day, I spotted a group of them and threw a net over them and then trapped them in a cellar. I didn't know what they were. They busted through everything and went wild. I have to be honest, I thought they were more interesting to watch than to destroy them. But in the end, they were much more dangerous than I expected. They began to attack people, and so we made it a mission to wipe them out. I had seen them on all parallels. Seems like your friends spread them everywhere.
How are things since Leonard Crumb is no longer around, Gaylord?
I am a little suspicious about that. It is quiet, but some small fires and smoke in patches of areas. I know the fires don't ignite themselves, and they have a sulfuric odorous element attached to it. Tell me, what is the gain in these small patches of fire, aside from the fact that he knows he is driving me bat crazy?
Let's make sure he's gone. Is it possible that this is a copycat event with another tributary searching for notoriety?
My senses are keen, and I don't miss a mark typically. I would bet all lands and a half of a steed of horses that this smells like the works of Leonard Crumb.
Very well. I'll keep a watch out for them. You do the same.
Will do. Be careful now. Don't trust what you see. And keep your senses sharp. I know my accent slips a bit, but...
Yeah. No, it's awesome. You know, it's funny because I hear him talking with an accent.
Yeah.
Like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
and that the way that he says things too, I thought were quite funny. Something's driving him back crazy.
Yeah, he didn't say the other one. And I would bet all lands and half of a steed of horses. It smells like...
It smells like the works of Leonard Crumb.
Smells like crumb. Smells like crumb to me. So, where to next?
Let's see. Well, we have Apollo, and this is the first time I've spoken to Apollo. I was going to have what he had to say, that we were going to read that through as the first one, but it turns out we'll read Meetis, of course, last. But we did it in this order instead.
Okay, so
interesting. I wasn't expecting to hear from him, but I think with Dionysus down, and he was under the name of Apollyon, which was a copy version of Apollo. So now he gets a chance to speak up. And Apollo is also Rhodan, another place in time, kind of like the way Helios is.
I am the true Apollo. I am the true Apollo, and I was hid beneath many disguises to help trap the one, Dionysus, who was to take on my name under false pretenses. I had warned him once, but while I was away, he had gained a rather large audience with his ostentatious ways. Humans seem to be easily entranced by the dramatic, the loud, the boastful, and the self-aggrandizement of megalomaniacs. I question why that is. Isn't this the reason why so many of you have fallen victims to corrupt rulers, religious extremists, wayward celebrities who take the souls of your children? The truth is in the humble, less aggressive, and more conscious leader. Moreover, you have those to represent and provide leadership, but you yourselves must take on the responsibility of your own lives. Live in your truth and don't blame others. Seek answers from within. Your planet is not in danger as you might imagine, but all of you have access to help others.
During my time here, I've run into many judges. Apollo. Who are they, and why are they here? They seem to be just as corrupt as those from the alternate realities.
You are correct. Those in judgment will be judged. The ones you are referring to came here from Revolution 1 and are in attempt to prove that this sequence of humanity is as corrupt as they are.
I think they should be brought back to where they belong. I see them tampering with any and all attempts for ascension. I have also found that some humans have learned their ways and seem to have the same insidious behavior of a repulsive self-righteousness. This is the poison in many belief systems, where one has the right to condemn another for not conforming to their will. Clearly it is ego-centered and vicious in nature, at times even masking the true intent of jealousy, envy, hatred, etc.
They, the judges, have been looking for the door. They've been looking for the door out, but the door has been locked behind them. I will not let them free and will make sure that they are held accountable for their misconduct on the planet. The humans who have adapted this behavior will learn what it feels like to have the tables turned. It is a harsh lesson, but all things have a balance, and if one swings too far on the pendulum to one extreme, you can be certain that they will swing drastically in the opposite direction. It is written within the laws of planet, and one must destroy the planet to destroy the laws. There you go, we have many trying to destroy the planet to free themselves of these truths. That too is being closely observed and hindered. There is more, so much more I can say, but I will refrain from doing so until the appropriate time. We are advancing well. I see you have crossed the chasm of destruction, and many are safely landed upon solid ground. I must go now. Many of you have been strong and well advanced, more so than what was expected of you. I admire your tenacity and strength. Live long, my friends. Apollo. That's lightning strike number 2. Now,
yeah.
This is really interesting.
That's sharp.
Yeah, it's an edgy one. This is, last night I was, as I said, I've had to rebuild lots of websites, and one of them was my, Crown-based website, my guide's, personal website. And I added another, entry that I pulled out last night, and it was very much like this. If you don't mind, can I read out, just a small,
yeah.
It's only a paragraph of it, but it's kind of...
No, please do. Whatever you want, JP.
Okay, so, where is it? I'm gonna find it. I've got 100 windows open. And you'll be able to find this on Crown-based...
101.
Yeah, where is it? Where is everything? You'll be able to find this on crownbasedtransmissions.com. Crown-based transmission, the spirit guides of JP. There we go. And, it was just, there we are. Was that one? Oh yes, here we go. It's, the second one then, relationship and authority. Right, so, yes, alright, the right relationship is the desired outcome. In that, it sums up all the correct attributes to relation to others. Just do it right. But what is right? Some people might say, might is right. The strong make the rules and the weak obey. This is obviously one-sided and bound one day to come back into balance. This will come to be quite soon, when the results of bullying are shown not only to be wrong, but distinctly bad for your own health. The world of politics is shamed and shown to be irrelevant minions of the bankers. The bankers will be strung from lampposts and the ruling white elite will try to flee. There will be a resistance to this happening even from their own ranks. One day this will be a historical fact. That's a funny way of putting it. Anyway, so that's what they said to me in 2010.
That sounds, very similar to what Apollo was saying, and you have more details and specifics regarding the corporate world, but it sounds like what they were saying about the judges. Because I would see that they're, trying to help people and working in groups, and then, feeling like this energy was present, and then someone stepping in and just judging for no reason. And everyone's harmonious, and then this one person just comes in and, says something that is, questioning or doing something, and it sets off everything else. And I feel like they're being directed by these energetic judges that are kind of floating around our energy field, the etheric field. And anytime I think anyone was trying to do something good, that's why I couldn't figure out. I was like, well, you're a judge, and I knew they were a judge, and it would come to my awareness that they were judges. And I'd say, well, but why are you contrary to this? Well, what's the problem with it? And I really thought that they were sent here to assist, kind of like, the watchers or these angelic beings that are here to kind of, be here to support us, maybe not actually interfere, but kind of support. And in this case, I felt like the judges were actually interfering and actually stepping through and talking through people. And I always knew by the things that they said in a certain tone where it was coming from. And it was these beings, the judges. And now, just years later, I'm finding out that they weren't supposed to be here in the first place. And I was giving them respect. I was allowing them to have their point of view. And I should have been shutting them up and telling them that they don't belong here. And so they very clearly it's this group that came in and kind of interfered with our reality, created these systems that we thought were the right thing, they were good for us. And then we're saying, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. It feels oppressive. And why are they always on top? And why are they always asserting themselves? And then here we are treated like, the minion. Or they're telling us what to do. And I'm not talking about the, people that are here physically. I'm actually hearing it etherically. So if I'm hearing it etherically, that means that they're working through others to, initiate it, to create this. So, that message that you had, JP, sounds very much like, this is what's going to happen to those beings.
Yeah,
and those humans that were the voices of them.
Yeah, you can see it, that it's a kind of natural, people use magic, and these judges have obviously been using magic because they fool everybody. It's glamour, yeah. They have an air of authority about them, which is completely false, but it's what they use, and self-righteous judgment. That's also sounds like this Stargate group, the Ori, in Stargate. They're kind of they use religious type authority. Like these big Bible basher guys, who used to go around burning people. That's the sort of feel that I'm getting from this.
Yeah,
there's probably more, but people who think they run the world.
it's a sort of there's a gamut of them. I thought they were good because they had this righteousness thing about them, and by being righteous, they had the right to pick apart what everyone else did, and if you say something positive, or you try to say something or expound on something, then they say, well, you're not in a higher consciousness. I mean, it's just trying to reveal and bring forth information, and then, there's a judgment. And then when you're talking positive, then there's a judgment. And then, it doesn't matter what you do. There's always this attitude, and everyone knows what I'm talking about. And they sort of, kind of are in the background, and they're very good at discrediting. And it's kind of a very not nice way of, but it's subtle. People think, well, maybe that's the voice of reason that I should be listening to. Maybe if this person's saying that, what that person's doing. And so it creates like this environment of suspicion. And, but a lot of that energy is coming in from the judges, these judges. And the reasoning behind what they're doing is that they weren't supposed to be here in the first place. They failed on the Revolution 1. When I say Rev 1, that means the humanoid group that existed prior to us, because we came in after the flood, right? So they existed before us, and then they failed, or they didn't do well, so they couldn't, move forward. And instead they took the shortcut through this Maximus Rufus, they went through a gateway, a bridge, a Rosen bridge, and came back, and then reintegrated their whole system, but then wanted to prove. What I was told is they're trying to prove that this revolution of humans are just as bad as they were. But meanwhile, they've been integrating their thoughts and their ideas into ours. And so I take exception to that. I said we didn't really have a chance, since they've, kind of been present and then convinced us that this is the way it's supposed to be. So, trying to clear the air for a lot of the different things, and the way that humans are looked upon and even told that, they're not good, and that they haven't learned, and they're not conscious. And most people are very, very kind in nature unless they're provoked. And so, the information in the judges is quite interesting. But the good news is that, they're getting found out. So that's where it comes into what, JP had to say about, they even went far enough to say, what are they going to do? They're going to do something to the bankers.
It was really graphic. The world of politics is shamed and shown to be irrelevant minions of the bankers. Wow, wouldn't that be, we know that, but if the public knew that would be a revolution. Certainly. The bankers will be strung from lampposts and the ruling white elite will try to flee. So, people are there's gonna be pitchforks and torches.
The days when, they used to have a saying, in the Old West that, they put up signs that lawyers had to be out by sunset.
Yeah.
Or be at risk.
Absolutely.
Because, they understood the crookedness of, getting paid to defend something that they knew was wrong. So, that's the kind of thing that, and we've, just adapted and gone along with the whole process, but we shouldn't have. And also I'm noticing in the chat room that people are questioning, so we have our guest that's coming up, but we still haven't read Meetis yet, but we have our guest, his name is Bylar, sometimes we call him Tom, he goes by the name of Tom, and he is with a group called the Eons, and this is from another universe. And the story behind this, and we're going to go into it further, so I just want you to hold that thought, make sure that you're here for the second hour, which is coming up, and we're going to go into Meetis, unless, JP, you had another thought.
Oh no, that's good. I'm expecting my food delivery at any moment.
Okay.
Because they come quite promptly at 10 o'clock. But let's see. So let's do the Meetis thing and see how far we go. I might need to delay the song if he rings on the bell. Anyway.
Okay.
So now I can really relate to Meetis's first line because he's trying to he's on stage and he's having difficulty with his wardrobe. So hello, Flower. I'm tangled up a bit, my love. Can you? I know you can't reach it. The cord that's around my back. I can't get accustomed to these strange outfits they have me wearing with the troubadours. We're on stage today quoting Shakespeare and I'm on a mission. Something follies. So I'm quoting now from The Taming of the Shrew, one of my favourites. I think I like this fella Shakespeare. I shared a few stories with him, including that of Titus Andronicus. You know, he visited us, the man named John, not Andronicus, but his friend in the long white jacket and strange spectacles. He was an odd fellow, to be exact. I told him that most people would think he looked absurd, and then he had the nerve to verbally unravel my attire. Piece by piece, he told me I looked like a fool. I said, I am a fool, and that's what we do here. I'm a court jester. This is a decent and honest way of living. You, on the other hand, good sir, came into my court, my reality, and mocked my attire. I take much offence to that. Tell me, was I wrong?
Meetis, you know he's from another timeline. It's normal for him to act that way. He's confused and was hoping he could find someone to help him.
He will see soon enough what happens when he has to navigate without my help. I'm getting tired of the mockery from these sorts with their noses turned up and the less hearken to the honesty and humble living as we do. I'm weary of being mocked as a fool and will not entertain any further. So I sent him on his way with the dogs licking at his feet.
No, Meetis, don't tell me you sent the Phoebians after him.
Never. But I didn't stop them either. They do obey me if I tell them to stop.
So I could have come to you a while back when I saw them in my reality.
Well, I would have helped you if you had asked for help. You know I love you, Flower. I will search and see if I can help you find them now. Here's a song for you and your friends. Very appropriate. The doors are knocking.
The doors are knocking.
The doors are knocking. Dogs are barking, chilling the children, and more. The days are stalking, like zombies walking. No one gets to sleep anymore. Hard to get the meter on. Steals down my spine, tips tokens in time. I can't see through reality's door. The bad ones broke the cellar floor. Then winter's roaming, someone touch me. I jump and hit my head, so weary, frightened. Dogs are barking, no one can sleep well in their bed. Let go those Phoebians and their reign again. Slip back through the door, we'll get to sleep again. No more dogs, my friend, forever, forever, no more. Because blues is dog music, you know that?
Yeah, it sure is. The doors are knocking, so someone's going to be coming to the door.
Yeah, that was quite fun. A sort of Dave Edmunds. Yeah, I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Anyway, So.
Yeah, I recognize that too.
Right. I'll pull out my headphone cable. Right. So,
yeah, we're gonna have some, music. We're gonna take a music break. We're gonna, looks like Bylar is running a little late. But we'll have, Peter, Bjorn, and John, Young Folks, MGMT, Kids, and Pearl Jam, The Fixer.
so where do we start? What have I actually
Which
got
one?
here? Well, I haven't got any of them on this screen here, right? So give me another second. You see, what happens is that I save them onto one computer. I download on this computer and I have to send them across. So, well, I have to go to downloads. What was the song? First song?
The song, yeah, the first one is, hold on. It is Peter Bjorn and John. That's the Young Folks. And then, MGMT
Oh,
Kids.
Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Like Pierre. You know, Pierre means a stone.
Yeah.
To throw a stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bjorn.
Bjorn means the same thing?
No, it means bear. Like a big bear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Kolbjorn is black bear.
Big bear.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, where did you want? I've got MGMT, and I've got Peter, Bjorn, and John,
and Pearl Jam, The Fixer.
Pearl Jam's The Fixer, right? Okay, I'll just get that in there. So those are the songs you're about to hear, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll go over to this computer now, and Peter, Bjorn. You pronounce the it's a B, J, and this O with a line through it. And how do you pronounce it? You say the letter O, but pronounce you mouth the letter E. Bjorn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you say O, but you smile. And it's like So Bjorn and John, Young Folks.
It's in my face.
Back, and thank you for that long music break that we have. But I hope you enjoyed the music because, well, you know, everything is a little bizarre around here. But
Right
it makes it interesting, doesn't it? So I want to welcome Tom or Bylar here, and he is I'll say the spokesperson for the Eons right now, and you know, we're just coming in to talk about some of the newest updates. Hello, Bylar, how are you?
Good. How are you, Jessica? Hi, JP.
Hey.
Hi. So, let's start from the beginning. You know, I mean, we talked about if whatever you want to share, you know, regarding the Eons, and you know, you've been putting information together, and we've been having these discussions here and there. Why don't we just start? I'm just going to let you talk a little bit and tell us what's going on with you.
Perfect. I just wanted to give an update to all of our siblings and other listeners that are listening this. So just to give a quick update on all of the siblings, how far did we get with our work, and some of the updates like transmissions from my sessions that I had with you previously. So I'll start from the beginning with all of the siblings.
So just to remind everyone that the siblings were lost. So the Eons came over here, right? They came over here to help humanity from another universe, and then in the process, some of the siblings were affected and had problems, and some of them they could not locate. So we've been successful in finding some of the siblings. So go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
So I'll start from the beginning. For Cosette, we know that's Ken, who's still here on Earth. And then we have Chiniwa. She's on our planet, so she's with Eon now. Then we have Seratep, who's on Earth, we
just kind of connected with him.
Yep. And then we have Telosiet. Telosiet is the one that we're still looking for. So we know he's somewhere, what was it, Telosiet, yeah, he's still the one that we're looking for. So what did we find out? He's somewhere within Earth or something like that, Jessica?
Well, I think, he might be over by Telos, and his name is very close to Telos, and I think we figured out the Saratep had, some kind of influence over in ancient Egypt, and so Telosiet is, somewhere. I don't know if he's still over there or not, but we still haven't quite located him yet.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Trevor, who's on our planet with Eons right now, and that was the ex-marine that it was causing trouble back a couple of sessions. So he's on our planet right now, so he's with Eons. Then we have
he was
Benaya.
Connected to that Russian that was in the submarine.
Yeah, Russian Marine in the submarine, yeah.
Yeah, that was broadcasting, for those of you that remember that show. He was broadcasting some very negative energy because he was not they're not used to being in a place without balance, so it was very hard for them. And go ahead.
Yes, then we have Benaya, who's on planet Earth, so we did contact him. So
yes.
And then we have Ventra. Ventra, she's on our planet, so she's with Eons right now. Celia, she's on our planet also with Eons right now. Astra, same thing, she's with Eons right now. And then we got Milo and Betra that are on planet, with the rest of the Eons. Milo and Betra are the ones originally that never came here. They always stayed on our planet, so they are the ones that have been looking all these years for their missing siblings. So the only one that we're still looking for and still have very little information is Telosiet. So this would be the call out for him to see if we can reach him, or, he would come forward or somehow connect with him.
Right. And the ones that were returned back to the planet, we discovered that they just pulled them back. Some of them went through some hardship and some very difficult lifetimes, but I had a desire to go back and finish their mission. But there are those that are still here, doing their work. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that returned back. Does that sound right to you, Vylar?
Geneva, Trevor, Ventra, Celia, Astra. Yeah, that's 5.
Yeah.
So Ken, Saratep, Ananias, and Milo, myself, that we are still on Earth here. So, and Telos, yeah.
Yeah. We also,
cool.
We figured out some interesting things too. And you sent me a picture. I don't know if that's in the notes here. But we'll just go through everything and just remind me. You say it at the very end. Okay. So, we're going to review some of the updated information.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm going to start from the beginning. So this is just continuation from the last update that we had on your show. So this is from our private sessions that I had with you. So this is a message from Milo and Betra from our planet, that Eons are the ones that brought space travel to humanity. I guess back in a day, through whatever means, they are the ones that brought space travel to humanity. Also, Jessica seen silver spheres being dropped at former Yugoslavia, which country? And Jessica also asking for silver spheres to be dropped for US and Canada. Now, these silver spheres are knowledge that I guess at a certain point they will open up and I guess that's so that people be able to tap into this knowledge, ancient knowledge, I guess. So they dropped 12 spheres for Canada and 12 for U.S. And they're saying eons will open it when the time is right.
Right.
So eons are very unhappy that other ETs are using humanity. Humans have a right to be part of universe. Unification of humans is needed. So yeah, I guess once they start digging through all of the situation and all the stuff that is happening on Earth, they discovered a lot of stuff that wasn't pleasing to them and to all of us. That's why it's so hard to get by every day here, I guess, with everything that it's suppressing us from advancement. Eons are restored moss, MOSS species. Information is infused in moss species. Now you remember this, Jessica?
Yeah, I remember it slightly. Do you have more? It's funny because the information comes through and I don't remember all the details on it, but I remember that it was a living organism. And
yeah, it's a living organism that it's somehow attached to trees, I guess, to ancient trees or something like that. And there's a lot of information that it's infused in this moss species. So it was infected at one point, so eons they started restoring this information that it was infused in moss species.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't realize that some of the plants and even some of the animals have like the information that comes from the whales and frequencies from the whales. People didn't realize that they were actually holding the Earth in a very, very nice environment, and it was from that frequency. And similarly, there's certain plants that are supporting, and so at one time, the different species of plants, and so as we know from Andronicus, that the plants are here for our nutrition and also to support other living things here on the planet. And so apparently the eon said there was something in the moss originally that was like a gift from them that was to help us. And maybe the way people consume seaweed and they get very good health benefits for it. There was something that originally was in the moss. So I guess they're going to be reinfusing that.
Okay, so going on from there, coast of former Yugoslavia, and negatives have buried some people at sea. This is where they probably use soul extraction for Ventura. So I guess they either sank some ship or something horrible happened over there. That's how they got one of the siblings. Jessica and Eons are managing to find Ventura on Mars and to free her. So that's where I believe that's where there's some kind of ship or something. That's where they got a lot of people, and somehow they use soul extraction for Ventura, one of the siblings, and you guys like Jessica and Eons, you guys managed to find her on Mars. Mm-hmm. And you guys free her from there.
Well, there was a lot of activity that was happening, and they were, like I said, there were groups that could identify that the eons were here, and they made their lives difficult. And so they would do different things, and I did see that Ventura was taken from the sea, and it looked like it was right off the coast of Yugoslavia. There's been a lot of wars over there. So many wars and so much negativity that even whether they were dirty bombs or whatever was going on over there was a lot of problems. And so it's really hard to clear up some of this stuff because people don't know exactly what happened. But there are certain regions of the world that have been hit very hard. And lots of, some of these people from those regions suffer greatly. And it's very possible that Ventura was in the position of wanting to protect and to help the people, but instead got attacked. So, and then it looked like probably another ET species that brought her up to the Mars base, but then she was freed.
Also, negatives are destroying civilizations. gentle species are being exterminated and aggressive thriving.
Right.
Humans are saying that our world used to be a much simpler and peaceful place, but now more benevolent beings are willing to assist, to help us, so they don't end up being attacked by negative ones.
That's right. And that's the kind of thing about they were kind of surprised to see that, we were in these situations that were not necessarily intended to happen. And, as I said, that the negativity coming in was really, really bad for everyone. And it hurt, humanity's trust and openness to the purity of what they should experience here. And they were intended to be a more gentler species, have been, but because of these influences, it changed us.
Also, they're saying negatives are using some kind of mechanism to emit wrong frequency. So for siblings, so it is hard to find them. Like the mechanism is emitting the wrong frequency, so it's so much harder for eons to find all these siblings because they're getting the wrong frequency. So you guys did some work in clearing up some of these mechanisms that are placed in former Yugoslavia and pretty much all over the world.
Right. And I'm sure that when they do some clearing, others will benefit by the clearing, and they'll probably continue doing that, so that they say the siblings, these are this group of they call them siblings or family that all came over here, that volunteered their time to come over and help and assist humanity, but did not anticipate the onslaught of aggression. I mean, they're coming from a higher consciousness and frequency, so it didn't make any sense to them what they were experiencing.
And then also, Anunnaki were deeply affected by the frequency that eons were sending to Earth. Healing frequency, but the Anunnaki were deeply affected by it. Also, Anunnaki took Geneva and left her at the Golden Gate, Sun Gate, not knowing who she was. That's where Jessica found Geneva. You remember that one?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they wanted to get rid of her because her frequency was too high, and it made them feel, that they couldn't be around her. And I think they were going to use her and her knowledge, but it was too uncomfortable for them, and they just dropped her off there.
Okay. Also, eons are saying humans need eons for ascension in our future.
They don't need it like we can't ascend without them, but they're supporting it. And they're supporting the ascension and helping with the frequencies for those that humans can't reach, and probably to balance out whatever has been going on, and the negative frequencies that have come in from the alternative realities. So this is why that it's not needed, but the assistance is very helpful. Otherwise, it would possibly take us longer.
Also, there's a place, Curacao, in Caribbean, has some kind of energy that it's
Curacao.
Some kind of energy that it's harming humans. Eons and Jessica are working on healing over Dutch Island that has blanket over Earth, like a black magic that it's affecting all of us.
Right. There was a discovery of this energy. They actually mentioned Curacao as a location and problem. And so then they just put that, they revealed that there was some kind of black magic that was brought in. That was done a long time ago. And so they had to clear that, but it was affecting all of us, I guess. And it was coming from this very small island. But as you can see, that there's been a lot of problems and storms and everything in that area. So these are some of the areas that have contributed to the imbalance in the oceans.
Also, back in time, eons came to heal Jagudras. I can't pronounce it.
The Yggdrasil tree, which is something that we talk about now, and that's actually Whyman for those of you that listen to the show often. And it is, an ancient tree, or as some refer to as the tree of life. And so the tree of life was deeply affected from a while back. And then they said something about the Borga, which was a type of cyborg, and connected to many different species, and they came and did some damage. Maybe there were some cyborgs that are good, but this group was not, and they were directed to do some damage on the tree, probably to enable them to access what was going on with humanity. And so it looked like this group, they're calling the Borga, wanted to eliminate all that was helping humans.
Mm-hmm. Eons are very good in removing AR, artificial intelligence, and very easy for them to do so. Eons took a layer of darkness from alternative reality. And for the last, Eons did confirm that it was them that sent back message to Carl Sagan, and Eons made a crop circle that appeared in the outside Kilborton radio telescope.
Chilbolton radio telescope grounds in Hampshire, England on the 21st of August, 2001. So do you have that? It's called The Face on Mars, which, the famous Face on Mars. There was a communication with Carl Sagan. And for those of you that listened, I was talking to Peter the Insider, and he said Carl Sagan was part of, his name was Carl, was also involved with some other things. But they had their surrogates and all this other stuff. But, Carl Sagan was reaching out, and he wanted to communicate with, the stars and see who would respond. And I believe it was the Eons that responded. And we believe that a picture of Milo.
Yeah, Milo, the sibling that is
it looked like Milo.
I'll just send the image to you guys so you can see it, but...
Did you put it in, we're gonna put that in the chat? And I notice everyone's talking about the chocolate franchise because they don't have chocolate on these other planets. Never asked the Eons, because the Eons are, they're still in kind of like a very serious state of mind, and I hope I can put these in with the chat room in the picture. But those of you that do recognize the Carl Sagan, I don't know if I can put it in here. I think I need to get the link. JP, can you put those in the chat room, or I don't know if he's eating.
Let me see.
The Chilbolton man, they called it. But very early on, they showed a connection to Carl Sagan, and the fact that Carl Sagan was reaching out to them. And I think they were really, really thrilled to see that someone was trying to communicate. And of course, they were very focused on trying to get their siblings back. But now it's, that's, with that being a less of a burden, that all of them are become accounted for, they can focus on some other things and kind of helping and supporting. But I noticed that all of the ones that I have contacted that are a part of this, that are not fully remembering and awakening to some of the, usually people have a strong remembrance of it, but they are doing work for humanity. They are helping and doing what they can. So it's been very positive. And they're doing things in their own way, but I do feel that there's a reluctance and a desire to not fully come forward, in which I'm very happy to see that you, Bylar, are feeling comfortable to come forward and really, speak out a little bit about and share with people, because I think because there was this oppression with the eons, that they weren't really comfortable with being public. And so, that part has been very, very interesting and challenging for them. So, we're learning, we're figuring these things out. We keep on collecting data, and the more information that comes through, the more that we're starting to understand about these beings. Another thing that we learned is that they have a very high level of knowledge of technology, and they also express to us that they come from another whole universe, and they express to us that when one of the things that they were doing is they were extracting knowledge from the eons that were here, these siblings, and they would find them if they had incarnated or they were walk-in. They would try to draw out that information and that data, and then, of course, misuse that information, as they often do, and create, bombs and military type of things for it, or corporations used it for their own benefits. But, these technologies were intended to help everyone in kind of like the free energy type of thing. So, they're much more advanced. They're very, very, helpful. They're very, very gentle beings, and, here to support what we're doing. And that's what we've learned so far. So, Bylar, so is there anything else that you wanted to bring up? And, we're kind of happy that we're finding everyone.
Yeah, we're happy, we can see a progress, because a couple of months back we were just starting, so we didn't even know any information of the siblings, so finally we're coming to some conclusion. So from our sessions, what the message I got, this, eons, they will play a big in our lives. It's just finding all their siblings. What I got from Mila, once they find all their siblings, then they can engage more into our everyday, awakening and ascension. So he wants to make sure that he finds the siblings first, And so one and only that we're still looking for is Telosiet. So this is called for Telosiet if he's somewhere out there to contact us. And then, because this is something that has been going on for thousands of years with Milo and all siblings. So it's fun right now finding the big picture. That's the big puzzle, but it's moving in a positive direction so far. So that's a good news.
Yeah, absolutely. And also we're open to questions when the chat has any questions and, are curious about, some of the things that they know, and I could see if we can get some answers. We can kind of open things up a bit, and we'll see if I can connect to Milo and share anything that would be helpful. But there are many, many different species that are here. Some are really, really here just to help out. There are others that are here to, experience as if they're humans, kind of just, stepping into human bodies and doing different things. And we know about all the bad ones, but it's nice to know about the good ones every now and then, and the ones that are very non-intrusive, that they're here to, help us to go to that other level, support us in that higher dimension, and, understanding the way to use energy, frequency, the way to expand our bodies and our consciousness, and also to support one another in all these processes. So it's nice to know, that, often we talk about this one's, this group's bad, or this group is acting like they're good but they're bad, and then, the alternate reality entering our space. And we talk about all these different things, but it's nice to know that there are groups that have, this greater sense of knowing. So, if anyone has any questions, please, just post it in the chat room. We'll be more than happy to answer. I know it almost sounds like, well, oh yeah, another species, and all right, fine, and they've done this or that. But, we action, we want to see some change. Yeah, we'll see. I think they could probably do more once they know that everyone is safe and doing well and thriving. And for these people that were, part of the siblings, some of them went through some really traumatic things, really difficult challenges, terrible wars, and were very much attacked. I mean, you personally, Bailar, you were grew up in a place of war.
Yes, that's correct. 20 years ago we had a war, so it was quite something. So, yeah.
That was over.
Not much positive to say out of that war,
but we'll just tell people where you lived, and they'll understand where you're.
Well, it was a former Yugoslavia, so all three countries, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, they were deeply affected by the war. So a lot of innocent people died over there, and it's one way or another, it's still negative. After that many years, it's still negative over there. So yeah, it's still. People are moving on, but there's still a long way before he moves to a positive.
Right. And the atmosphere over there is still, from the war, I mean, as far as the rebuild and consciousness and health and the environment, how that has affected everything as well. For whatever reason, they really targeted that area. And you visited it recently.
Yes, I was just there. Yeah, this summer I was there, and I had personally had some health issues over there, and so yeah, I'm pretty sure that has something to do with war, So yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
Yeah, we heard that. How does it look as far as the rebuild? I mean, people are trying to get back to where they should be.
Yeah, the people
a lot of us, especially over in the U.S., we're kind of very removed from it. Are you still there?
Yep. I'm still here. Yep.
Yeah.
We're
very removed from it.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, something was cutting off. Yeah, what I was going to say, the people are, they have to move on. They have no other choice. But, after not living there for quite some time, you go there for a visit, you can still see down deep inside, people are still struggling with the past, They have to move on, but there's still a lot of negative energy in the air.
Sadness and pain and suffering and all that stuff. And we do feel bad for ourselves, but there are some parts of the world that are still in terrible situations. And we've been very, very lucky, very, very fortunate. So, we want to be sensitive to that, just that could be something that we want to project as far as healing. And in order for us to heal, maybe some of those areas in the world need to be healed first. And so we're going to just send out healing to those areas right now. I'm going to see if there's anything that Milo wants to share with us. And I'm seeing a gate opening up. And Milo's telling me that new information is going to be flowing in for us. That's going to assist in our process. And the ideas will just sort of pop in our heads. It's almost like those silver spheres that I was looking at earlier. I think what they're trying to do is help us to, figure out, problem solving. They're sending ideas regarding problem solving, and starting with your personal life, and then you're going to find that you're able to help others around you, and that you're able to help to provide ideas within your communities, and it's going to expand. There's also this kind of white, it looks like snowflakes, but it's not. And that is a molecular cleansing energy that's going to go into the deeper aspects of our molecular structures, not necessarily our bodies, but in the earth, to help reset some of the things that were done to it. And it looks like there was also something that happened in the galactic space that created a kind of a twisting effect. And it's not seen by the physical eye, but what they're showing me is that the twisting effect kind of created an anomaly in our star system, and created a kind of a motion or a flow of things that was not the way it was originally supposed to be. And so they're removing that unnatural, it looks like a magnetic pull that was creating a twisting action that was causing things to flow unnaturally. And that also will close up a space where of these alternate beings have been stepping through. So it looks like we're getting close to the end of the show. Well, that was interesting. I'm glad I got to see that. And I want to say thank you, Bylar, for being here. And I always enjoy, talking to you. It's always very positive, and I'm grateful that we could join together in another day, and that things are going to be getting much better in the future. So wonderful. We get that change. Something just happened out in the galactic space. That was great. I'm glad I got to see that. And so, moving forward, thank you, Bylar, for joining us today. Thank you, JP. I enjoyed it as always. And thank you, everyone in the chat room. We love you and appreciate you. And, holding on to the highest potential of humanity.
Definitely. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, JP.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night, everybody.